Driving the car that Derek Bell drove and spun out twice at Michigan, but Derek continued to say it was the best car of the lot.
Well, I'll tell you this, Ken. If Sneva wins in car number 3, it's the same car that Bonnet drove to victory at Michigan, the purple Easter egg. Everybody at Talladega is going to want this car. And the drivers that don't draw it are going to find something to complain about with the other machinery.
Last lap at 99.5 miles per hour. 99.5 on the leader. And Sneva stays out in front. You know, even though he has a bad reputation as a road racer, his record in the road race series of the IndyCar people is among the very best.
Well, his bad reputation in road racing ended when the green flag dropped today.
There's Cale holding on in that second position. Get about 5 miles per gallon on these cars with a 33-gallon tank. And there's Danny Ungaius's view of this race with our onboard camera. There's Derek Bell. They're looking back and forth at each other. Remember, Bell is third. Ungaius is in fourth.
Danny Ungaius. There he moves out. Look at this.
Danny Ungaius moves through and takes Derek Bell, picks up a spot, and he gets in trouble and spins all the way around.
Full spin on the track, both from the in.
12th turn, got him.
I tell you, Danny, look at this. He's swiveling and swerving, getting back in, smoking the tires.
That is the second time that he has met with the concrete here this afternoon. Ungaius.
You know, Danny Ungaius has had so much bad luck. He has an insatiable appetite for the race, as we just saw. There.
Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Yarborough closing up another time as Danny Ungaius gets back underway. Closing in on the first place man, Tom Sneva, is Cale Yarborough another time.
It'll be interesting to see if Cale can pass Sneva, whether he does it in a left-hander, which is the turn that doesn't bother his injured shoulder, or in a right-hander, which he says is so difficult for him to execute.
It was the crash at Rockingham, North Carolina, which injured his shoulder. We can take a look at that incident from Derek Bell's car. This is what Derek Bell was seeing as Danny Ungaius made the challenge. A little bit of a 360 there. And I think he collected the tail end of that car at about the same time. And here's Danny Ungaius's view from inside his car as he made the move down to the bottom to get underneath Derek Bell on the end of that 2,300-foot straightaway. Ungaius will pit and got in there really hard. Derek Bell moving back underneath him, and away we go. Here's one more look at that.
That's pinching it too close, Ken. There's only so much you can do with these cars.
And he did just a little more.
That's right.
98.5 is lap number 20 as we move into the final moments of the event. And we're back in Danny Ungaius's car. We understand he may elect to pit. He may stay out here. Remember, at Michigan, he stayed out and continued on. Sneva and Yarborough stay first and second, and Yarborough keeps nipping away at Tom Sneva.
If they finish the race the way they're running, Ken, Bonnet will lead the standings going into Talladega with 28. Benny Parsons will be second with 26. Sneva will be third at 25. And Waltrip and John Cox tied for fourth at 24 tallies each.
Sneva running that front position. And there's plenty of distance between this pair up in front and the third place car, which now is Derek Bell. Darrell Waltrip has moved to fourth. Gordon John Cox to fifth. Benny Parsons to sixth. Neil Bonnet up to seventh. And into eighth goes Dale Earnhardt.
Yarborough got within a length of Sneva a lap ago, and it has spurred Tom Sneva to some extent. He's pulled out to a 3 or 4 car length advantage here as the race starts to move into the closing stages. He's got to have his fingers crossed. The one thing that his career needs is a major road racing triumph.
21 laps are now complete of the 30 laps to be contested today in round number 2. Cleveland, Ohio is where it's happening. The 2.4-mile course here at the Burke Airport is where this one is up for grabs. Let's go to the pit. Standing by is Dick Vermeil.
With me is Tom Cousineau, the fine linebacker of the Cleveland Browns. What's a linebacker doing on a racetrack 2 weeks before training camp, huh?
Well, Dick, I've always been a car fanatic, without a doubt, and I met Scott Brayton through a mutual friend, and He invited me to come to Indy and change tires, and I got the bug now.
Oh, you're on the pit crew then. Are there any similarities between the coordination of a pit crew and a football team?
Well, I think it's just like you need more than a great quarterback to get to the Super Bowl. You need more than a fast car to get into victory circle. You know, it's filled with teamwork here. And it has to do with the crew chief and getting in and out of the pits fast, because if you get the driver out on the track, it's that much less time he has to make up.
Tom, it seems like you get as excited about this as you do playing football. Back to Ken.
Two-time national champion Tom Sneva, back in 77 and 78, continues to hold the lead. Off the corners, he seems to get an advantage, and then Chris, it goes away from his. Cale drags him back in again.
Less than a second between the first and second place runners, Ken.
Here is Tom Sneva up in front. Has 12 career wins in IndyCar racing. Remember, he placed only 11 in that performance earlier at Michigan.
You know, if this was Daytona or Talladega, we could say that Cale was waiting for the last lap to pull the slingshot. But the slingshot doesn't work here at Cleveland or at any flat road course. We'll see what he has up his sleeve as the race draws to a close.
Tommy Sneva, who in 3 IROC series has never had a victory, stays in front as the laps begin to run down for the 36-year-old resident of Paradise Valley, Arizona. Cale Yarborough right there. Cale told me last night, he said, I doubt if I can run more than 20, 25 laps. He said, my shoulder is just so bad. It's the left shoulder, it's the right-hand turn, and also he has a bad leg, and he's waiting until the end of the season in November to have a couple of ligaments worked on, as well as to have some work done on that shoulder. Tom Sneva and Cale Yarborough still locked up in front. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Neil Bonnet back there with that broken right wrist, who's running in 7th position. See where the shifter is built up in his car to give him just a little bit of assistance here.
You know, there's so much more turning done here at Cleveland, Ken, than you do on a super speedway. Notice the steering wheel way over to the right there, and then back up his hands at the top of the wheel. He's really working. Don't forget, he's really almost doing it one arm there. That bandaged right wrist is just not giving him over there to shift gears. He's waiting, got on, and that's the hardest part for Neil Bonnet, moving that gear shift lever like that.
He does everything pretty well. He'd never been in a dirt track race until he went to New Zealand one time with Bobby Allison. The first dirt race he ever drove, he won over there. They've changed the carburetors up to a 750 CFM, as they told you earlier in the program, from the 390 to give them more torque, to give them more jump off the corners.
Okay, Bonnet, you know, is really dropping, going against doctor's orders. He's broken his wrist twice this year, and if he breaks it again, he may lose the use of it.